I found my house listed for sale on Zillow. Not by me, by my niece's fiancé, who'd been living under my roof for 3 months because he needed time to save up. The price? $20,000 under market value. The photos? Taken while I was at my book club. The listing agent's number? His father's. I sat in Dorothy's kitchen, staring at my phone screen, watching strangers schedule tours of my home for that weekend. My home. The house Tom and I bought in 1989. The house where I'd raised my own daughter, hosted 37 Thanksgivings, and carefully tended the rose garden that took me 15 years to perfect. "Call the police," Dorothy said, already reaching for her phone. "Call your lawyer, Marina. This is fraud." But I couldn't move. I just kept scrolling through the photos. There was my living room, but the furniture had been rearranged. My grandmother's quilt wasn't on the couch anymore. Tom's fly fishing photos were gone from the mantel, replaced with some generic art print I'd never seen before. They'd staged my house, like I was already gone. Let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here. 3 months ago, my niece Amber called me crying. She was 27, working as a dental hygienist, and she'd just gotten engaged to Brandon, her boyfriend of 2 years. They were living in a cramped apartment across town, trying to save for a wedding and a down payment on a house. "Aunt Marina," she sobbed into the phone, "our landlord is selling the building. We have 30 days to move out, and everything in our price range is gone. Every single place. Please, could we just stay with you for a couple weeks? Just until we find something? Please?" What was I supposed to say? Amber was my late sister's only child. I'd helped raise her after Claire died when Amber was 12. I'd taught her to drive. I'd helped pay for her dental hygiene program. She was family. "Of course, sweetie," I heard myself say. "You can take the guest room." 2 weeks, maybe 3. That should give you time to find something. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," Amber gushed. "Brandon and I will be so respectful, I promise. You won't even know we're there." They moved in on a Saturday. I helped them carry boxes up the stairs. Even though my back complained about it later, Brandon was all smiles and charm, calling me Aunt Marina even though we weren't related, offering to help with yard work, thanking me profusely. The first week was fine. Pleasant, even. They were quiet. They cleaned up after themselves. Brandon made coffee in the morning and always made enough for me. Amber would sit with me in the evenings, talking about wedding plans, showing me Pinterest boards on her phone. But the second week, things started shifting. I came home from my volunteer shift at the library to find my living room furniture rearranged. The couch was against a different wall. My reading chair was shoved into the corner. The coffee table I'd refinished with Tom 15 years ago was in the garage. "Oh, Aunt Marina," Amber said brightly when she saw my face. "Do you like it?" "We thought the energy flow was all wrong. This opens up the space so much better. But I liked it the way it was," I said carefully. Could you have asked first?" Brandon came in from the kitchen, drying his hands on one of my good dish towels. "We wanted to surprise you. You've been in a rut, Marina. Sometimes we need fresh eyes to see how things could be better." I felt my throat tighten. I wasn't in a rut. I liked my living room. "Oh, come on," Brandon laughed. "You're not one of those old people who can't handle change, are you? We're just trying to help." Amber touched my arm. "We can move it back if you really hate it. But just try it for a day? I think you'll love it once you get used to it." I didn't love it, but I didn't want to seem rigid or ungrateful. They were doing me a favor by keeping me company, weren't they? The house had been so quiet since Tom died. Maybe Brandon was right. Maybe I did need fresh eyes. So I said okay. Just for a few days. The furniture never went back. Week 3. I came home to find they'd painted the guest bathroom without asking. A trendy gray that made the small space feel like a cave. "It was so dated," Amber explained. "That peach color was very 1990s. This is an investment in your home value, Aunt Marina. You should be thanking us, Brandon added. Do you know what painters charge? We did this for free. I hated the gray, but I didn't know how to say it without seeming ungrateful. They'd spent their Saturday doing this. They'd used their own money for paint. How could I complain? Week 4. Brandon's parents came for dinner. I'd spent the afternoon making my mother's pot roast, setting the table with my good china. But when Brandon's parents arrived, Sharon and Mike, they looked at me like I was the guest. Oh, how sweet, Sharon said, eyeing the dining room. You still cook, Marina, at your age? I'm 62, I said, trying to smile. Not 90. Brandon told us you've been so welcoming, Mike said, settling into Tom's chair at the head of the table without asking. Letting the kids stay here while they save up. That's real generous. Well, it's just for a few weeks. They're talking about maybe staying through the wedding, Sharon interrupted. Save up a bigger down payment. Smart, right? Why pay rent when they could be building equity? I looked at Amber. We haven't decided anything, Brandon said smoothly. But Marina's been so great about everything. She knows we're not taking advantage. We contribute, right? Marina? They'd given me $200 total. Once, 6 weeks ago, for a house they were living in rent-free, using all the utilities, eating my food. Right, I heard myself say. After dinner, I found Sharon in my bathroom, opening my medicine cabinet. Oh, she said, not even looking embarrassed. Just needed some Tums. You don't mind, do you? I minded. I minded very much, but I just smiled and said there were Tums in the kitchen drawer. 2 months in, I knew I'd made a mistake, but I didn't know how to fix it. They'd taken over the house completely. Brandon had set up a home gym in my craft room. All my quilting supplies were in boxes in the garage, next to Tom's fly fishing equipment and the coffee table. Amber had rearranged my kitchen cabinets to make more sense. I couldn't find anything anymore. They had friends over without asking. Loud friends who stayed until midnight, who left beer bottles on my porch railing, who parked in my driveway like they owned it. Could you maybe ask before having people over? I ventured one morning after finding cigarette butts in my rose garden. It was just a few friends, Brandon said, not looking up from his phone. But this is my house. Exactly. Your house. So generous of you to share it. We're just trying to build community here, Marina. You've been so isolated since Tom died. This is healthy for you. He'd turned my boundary into a character flaw. And somehow, I was apologizing. You're right, I said. The cigarette butts in the roses. I'll talk to them, he said, in a tone that suggested he wouldn't. I called Dorothy that night, whispering in my own bedroom like a prisoner. You need to give them notice, Dorothy said firmly. 30 days. Legal eviction notice. This is your house, Marina. But Amber is Claire's daughter. She's all I have left of my sister, and she's letting her fiancé walk all over you. Claire would be furious. I knew Dorothy was right. But I couldn't do it. Not yet. I'd try one more time to set boundaries, one more conversation. The next morning, I made coffee for all of us. I asked them to sit down. I'd rehearsed this. I love having you here, I started. But I think we need to talk about some guidelines. House rules, you know? Like asking before having guests, not rearranging furniture, maybe contributing to groceries. Are you serious right now? Brandon's face went red. After everything we've done for you? Done for me? The painting. The furniture arrangement. Making this place look decent instead of like a museum to the past. Keeping you company so you're not alone all the time. And now you want to charge us rent? I'm not charging rent. I'm just asking for some consideration. We have been considerate. Amber's eyes filled with tears. I do want to help. Then stop being so controlling. Brandon stood up. Every time we try to make a change, you complain. Every time we have friends over, you sulk. Maybe the problem isn't us. Maybe it's you, Marina. Maybe you're too stuck in your ways to let anyone in. I felt like I'd been slapped. That's not fair, isn't it? He grabbed his keys. Come on, Amber. Let's give her some space. Maybe she'll realize how good she has it. They left. I sat at my kitchen table and cried. By the time they came back that evening, I'd convinced myself Brandon was right. I was being controlling. I was stuck in my ways. I was lucky they were here, keeping the house from being so empty and sad. I apologized. I'm sorry, I said. You're right. I've been rigid. Let's start fresh. Amber hugged me. Thank you, Aunt Marina. I knew you'd understand. Brandon just nodded, like he'd expected nothing less. That's when things got worse. Week 10, they moved into my bedroom. The main bedroom. The one I'd shared with Tom for 33 years. I came home from grocery shopping to find them carrying my clothes into the guest room. What are you doing? We're getting married in 4 months, Amber said. We need space for a king bed. The guest room only fits a queen. And you're just one person, Aunt Marina. You don't need all this space. But this is my room, and we'll take such good care of it, Brandon said. We've already ordered new furniture. Modern stuff. You're going to love it. Where are Tom's things? In the garage, Amber said, like it was obvious. Don't worry, we were careful with them. I stood in the hallway, watching them hang their clothes in my closet, and I felt something inside me crack, but I didn't say anything. I just went to the guest room, sat on the narrow queen bed, and stared at the gray walls. Dorothy came over that night. She took one look at me and poured 2 glasses of wine. This ends now, she said. You call a lawyer tomorrow. I can't afford. My son-in-law is a real estate attorney. He'll do it for free. It's not abuse. They're just young and thoughtless. It's abuse. And it's going to get worse. She was right. Week 11, Sharon and Mike came over again. This time, with a real estate agent. Just getting a market analysis. Brandon said casually, you know, for when you're ready to downsize. I'm not downsizing. Not now, Sharon said gently. But eventually, Marina, this house is too big for one person. And the maintenance costs. You're on a fixed income, aren't you? I'm fine financially. For now, Mike said. But what about in 5 years? 10? Wouldn't it be smarter to sell while the market's good? Move into a nice senior community? They have activities, people your own age. I don't want to move. The real estate agent, a woman named Jennifer, was measuring the living room with a laser tool. It's a seller's market. You'd get top dollar. And with the improvements the kids have been making, you'd probably exceed asking. What improvements? The paint, the furniture staging, the curb appeal work Brandon did. She smiled. You're lucky to have family who cares so much about property values. They were in my house with a real estate agent, talking about selling it. And somehow, I was the unreasonable one for objecting. After they left, I confronted Amber. I never agreed to sell. We know, Aunt Marina. We're just exploring options, planning ahead, being responsible. This is my house. Of course it is, Brandon said. No one's saying otherwise, but you have to admit it makes sense. Eventually, and we'd make sure you got a great place, somewhere safe and comfortable. Somewhere they could control me completely, he meant. Somewhere I'd have no power at all. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in the guest room, listening to them laughing, in my bedroom, in Tom's bedroom, and I made a decision. Tomorrow, I'd call Dorothy's son-in-law. Tomorrow, I'd start the eviction process. Tomorrow, I'd take my house back. But tomorrow came, and I lost my nerve. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I should give them one more chance. That's when I found the Zillow listing. I'd gone to Dorothy's for book club, like I did every Wednesday. We were discussing a mystery novel, something about a woman who slowly realizes her husband is poisoning her, and I kept thinking about my own situation. "You look exhausted," Dorothy said after everyone else left. "Have you been sleeping?" "Not really." She made tea, and then, casually, she asked, "Have you checked your home's value recently? Just curious what houses in your neighborhood are going for." I pulled out my phone, typed in my address on Zillow, and there it was. My house. Listed for sale. 3 days ago, the photos were professional. Every room perfectly staged. My personal items gone, replaced with generic decor. The description called it a charming 3-bedroom with mountain views, perfect for a growing family. The listing agent, Mike Henderson, Brandon's father. I made a sound I didn't recognize. Something between a laugh and a scream. "Marina?" I showed her the phone. Dorothy grabbed it, scrolling through the photos, her face going pale. "Oh my God. Oh my God. Marina, this is fraud. This is actual fraud. They're selling my house. They're trying to sell your house. They haven't succeeded yet. You need to call the police right now." What do I say? That my niece, that someone listed your property without your permission. That's what you say. And then you call my son-in-law. Right now. Dorothy's son-in-law, James Chen, answered on the second ring. She explained the situation while I sat there, numb. "Don't go home tonight," he said. "Stay with Dorothy. I'll meet you there in 20 minutes. And Marina? This is serious. This isn't just eviction anymore. This is fraud, potentially identity theft. We're going to fix this." James arrived with a briefcase and a calm, focused energy that made me feel like I could breathe for the first time in months. "First thing, I'm calling the police non-emergency line and the listing platform. This listing will be down within the hour. Second, we're filing for an emergency restraining order and immediate eviction. They've committed fraud. They'll be out by Monday. But Amber committed fraud against you, Marina. I know she's your niece. I know you love her. But she participated in listing your house for sale without your knowledge or consent. That's a crime." The police came to Dorothy's house. I gave a statement. They drove to my house to confront Amber and Brandon. I didn't go with them. I couldn't face it yet. At midnight, Officer Rodriguez called me. "Ma'am, they're claiming it was a misunderstanding, that you'd agreed to explore selling options, and they thought you'd okayed the listing. I never agreed to anything. That's what we figured. We've informed them that you're the legal owner and they have no right to list the property. We've also informed them that you'll be filing for eviction. They're not taking it well." "Are they still there?" "Yes, ma'am. It's still their legal residence until you go through the eviction process. But I'd recommend staying elsewhere tonight. Things are tense." I stayed at Dorothy's for 3 days while James filed the paperwork. Emergency eviction based on fraud and violation of homeowner rights. It moved faster than normal evictions because of the Zillow listing, the documented proof of their intentions. On Friday, a sheriff's deputy served them the papers. They had 72 hours to vacate. Amber called me 17 times. I didn't answer. She left voicemails, crying, screaming, begging. "How could you do this to me? I'm Claire's daughter. I'm your family. We were just trying to help you." "You're going to regret this, Aunt Marina. You're going to die alone in that house, and no one will care." Brandon left one voicemail. "You've made a huge mistake, old woman. We could have taken care of you. Now you're on your own. Good luck with that." On Monday morning, I went home. Dorothy and James came with me. The sheriff's deputy was already there, supervising the move-out. I stood in my driveway and watched them load their things into a U-Haul. All the furniture they'd bought for my bedroom, the gym equipment, the generic art prints, the gray paint cans. Amber wouldn't look at me. Brandon glared, but said nothing. It took 4 hours. When they finally drove away, the deputy handed me new keys. We changed the locks, he said, just to be safe. And ma'am, I've seen a lot of elder abuse cases. This one was bad. You did the right thing. I walked into my house. My quiet, empty, beautiful house. The living room furniture was gone. My bedroom was empty, except for Tom's old dresser, which they'd left. The guest bathroom was still gray. The garage was full of my things, still in boxes. But it was mine. It was finally, completely, mine again. Dorothy helped me drag the boxes back inside. We spent the week putting everything back. My grandmother's quilt on the couch. Tom's fly fishing photos on the mantel. My quilting supplies in what had been Brandon's gym. I repainted the bathroom myself. A warm cream color. It took me 3 days because my back isn't what it used to be, but I did it. The rose garden was damaged but not dead. I pruned the cigarette-burned bushes and fed them. They'd recover. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Amber. Not an apology. A bill for all the improvements they'd made. The paint, the furniture moving, the staging. $4,200. I sent it to James. He sent back a cease and desist letter, along with a counter bill for the utilities, groceries, and rent they'd never paid. $8,100. I never heard from them again. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my living room, in my reading chair, in exactly the spot I like it. Dorothy's coming over for dinner. I'm making pot roast. My house is quiet. But it's not lonely. It's peaceful. It's mine. Sometimes I think about calling Amber, trying to reconcile, explaining that I wasn't trying to hurt her, just protect myself. But then I remember what Dorothy said. You can love someone and still not let them destroy you. I do love Amber. I probably always will. She's Claire's daughter, and Claire was my sister, and that bond doesn't just disappear. But I love myself more. I love my peace more. I love my home, my space, my life more. And that's not selfish. That's survival. The other day, a young woman at the library asked me for advice. Her daughter and son-in-law wanted to move in temporarily. Set boundaries from day one, I told her. In writing, with a move-out date. And stick to it. Your house, your rules. Don't apologize for that. But what if they get mad? Then they get mad, I said. Better than losing yourself in your own home. She thanked me. I hope she listened. I'm 62. I'm a widow. I'm alone in a 3-bedroom house that's probably too big for one person, and I've never been happier. Because it's my house. My name on the deed. My rules. My peace. No one will take that from me again.